Okay, let's start with a big question. What if the secret, the real key to turning what you want into actual riches? What if it isn't about what you have, but completely about how you think? What if your mind is actually shaping your success, just waiting for you to tap into that power? Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to break down complex ideas, get to the core insights, and give you those aha moments, without all the fluff. Today, we are cracking open a truly foundational text, a timeless one, really. Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
Oh,
And look, this isn't just some book. It's a deep look at how thought and achievement connect. Hill got his insights from giants like Carnegie and Ford. It's all about using your imagination, really cultivating that desire, and then having a solid plan.
exactly. And what we want to do in this deep dive is unpack those core principles Hill put together. Decades of research went into this. We want you to get not just what they are, but really why they matter. For anyone really who's looking for fulfillment, personal or financial, this isn't just theory floating around. It's meant to be a practical guide, something you can actually use, starting now.
All right, so let's jump right into Hill's big claim. Thoughts are things. He says they're powerful things, especially, I think that's right, when they are mixed with definiteness of purpose, persistence, and a burning desire, for turning them into riches or whatever material goals you have. And he uses the story of Edwin C. Barnes. Incredible story. Barnes just had this one single desire, become Thomas Edison's business associate. That was it. But he had no money, zero connections, nothing but this
Yep.
obsession.
Oh, Barnes is the perfect example. He didn't just want it. It was an absolute obsession, right? He even hopped a freight train just to get to Edison's office, just to state his intention. And Edison saw something in that desire. Gave him a chance, sure, low-paying job at first, but Barnes just kept focusing that desire. Then the Edison dictating machine came along, he saw his opening, grabbed it, and bam, wealth. Partnership with Edison. It really shows what Hill meant by bulldog determination, that relentless drive.
That bulldog determination. Yeah, it reminds me of that other story, the 3 feet from gold one, with R.U. Darby's uncle. He was mining. The gold vein vanished, so he just quit. Only to find out later the gold was literally 3 feet away from where he stopped. It's such a stark reminder, isn't it? Hill says one of the most common causes of failure is the habit of quitting when one is overtaken by temporary defeat. He keeps saying you're the master of your fate, the captain of your soul, because, well, we have the power to control our thoughts. Success comes from being success conscious.
And Darby learned that lesson well. He had his own little moment, that 50-cent lesson in persistence. He watched this little girl just keep pestering his uncle for 50 cents until she got it, nonstop. And he realized, no doesn't always mean no. It totally changed how he approached selling insurance, made him super successful. These stories really drive home that your mindset, well, it's everything. More than your starting resources anyway. It's that internal strength.
Okay, so thoughts are things, persistence is vital, but what fuels it? What keeps that persistence going? Hill says it's the absolute need for a burning desire, the first step towards riches. Wishing isn't enough. Hope isn't enough. It has to be that burning desire. He calls it the turning point of all achievement. It's got to be all-consuming.
Right, and he brings Barnes back here, highlighting that keen, pulsating desire. So intense, Hill says, that Barnes burned his bridges, which means, full commitment, no plan B, no retreat, like those ancient warriors burning their ships, victory or nothing. He'll believe that mindset is absolutely essential. You have to eliminate the possibility of backing down.
It's intense. And he doesn't just leave it there. He gives us a practical method. The 6 steps to transmute desire into financial gain. Super specific. 1, fix the exact amount of money you want. 2, decide exactly what you'll give in return. Nothing's free, right? 3, set a definite date. When will you have it? 4, create a solid plan and start acting on it immediately. 5, write it all down, a clear, concise statement. And 6, the famous one, read that statement aloud, twice a day, morning and night. And while you read it, see and feel and believe you already have the money.
He even shares that really personal story about his son, born without physical ears. Hill had this unwavering, burning desire for his son to hear and speak normally, and through that intense focus and persistence, they found ways, and the son overcame it. It's this incredible example of desire outwits Mother Nature. Not magic, but the power of belief shaping reality, influencing outcomes.
That story is powerful, really shows the strength of will. Okay, so from desire, the next step is chapter 3, faith, the head chemist of the mind. Hill calls faith the eternal elixir, the thing that gives life, power, and action to the impulse of thought. It connects your mind, your subconscious maybe, to what he calls infinite intelligence.
Yeah, infinite intelligence. It sounds a bit mystical, but think of it as universal knowledge, maybe the collective unconscious, or just the untapped potential of our own minds connecting to bigger ideas. It's less religious dogma, more about tapping into deep intuition. And you build this faith, he says, through auto-suggestion, basically repeating affirmations. He emphasizes that thoughts mixed with emotion, with feeling, have a kind of magnetic force. They attract similar thoughts, so positive emotions boost your thoughts, negative ones, well, they can lead to misfortune. He even gives us self-confidence formula, practical steps, daily promises, managing your thoughts.
And the examples he uses are huge. Mahatma Gandhi moving millions with just conviction. Charles M. Schwab articulating this compelling vision for U.S. Steel, driven by faith. These weren't just about making money, they were about massive achievements fueled purely by belief.
Absolutely. The limits are often the ones we place on ourselves. Poverty and riches, Hill argues, both start as thoughts. So cultivating positive thoughts, unwavering faith, that's key to turning desire into reality. A lot of modern self-help definitely echoes this.
It really does. And, this is probably a good spot for a bit of critical thought. Hill puts huge emphasis on auto-suggestion. But we should ask, does it always work just on its own? I mean, psychology studies often show that affirmations can boost confidence, sure, but outcomes usually depend on action too.
Right. Some critics argue that if you only focus on positive thinking, you might ignore the practical, sometimes hard steps needed. Like Angela Duckworth's work on grit, resilience, actual planning, hard work. Those are crucial, not just belief alone.
Exactly. So Hill's idea is powerful, definitely, but maybe best seen as part of a strategy. Belief plus realistic, actionable steps.
That's a great point. Belief needs action. And that leads us nicely into something more external, Hill stresses. Specialized knowledge, the pathway to power. Hill's pretty clear. Knowledge will not attract money unless it is organized and intelligently directed through practical plans of action. General knowledge is nice, but it doesn't pay the bills unless it's focused and applied.
He makes a really sharp distinction between just going to school and having practical, specialized know-how. Look at Henry Ford, limited formal schooling, right? But he knew how to get the knowledge he needed by networking, surrounding himself with experts. Hill says real education isn't just stuffing your head with facts. It's about developing your abilities and knowing where to find information when you need it. And you get that specialized knowledge from experience, from working with others, that mastermind idea, or from schools, libraries, training. Continuous learning is key.
And he notes employers want specialized skills, practical experience. They value people who can do things or hire specialists who can. It's about organized, directed knowledge you can use, which flows perfectly into imagination, the workshop of the mind. This is where plans get created, where desire starts to become real. Hill calls imagination the workshop.
He actually breaks imagination into two types. First, synthetic imagination. That's rearranging old ideas, concepts, plans into new combinations, like innovation from existing parts. Then there's creative imagination. This, he says, is where you get hunches, inspiration, direct communication with infinite intelligence maybe, sparking totally new ideas, especially when you have that intense desire.
Ideas are the beginning points of all fortunes. Ideas are products of the imagination. That's the core. He uses the Coca-Cola example. Simple formula, a kettle. But imagination turned it into a global giant, the vision for what it could be. And Hill's big statement here is pretty provocative. Man's only limitation lies in his development and use of his imagination.
Wow. That puts the responsibility squarely on us. Okay, so you've got the idea, sparked by imagination. Now you need action. How do you make it real? That brings us to organized planning, translating desire into action. Hill is adamant. Your achievement can be no greater than your plans are sound. Desire needs organized plans to become action.
Yeah, and his main advice for making good plans involves that mastermind group again. Coordinating knowledge and effort harmoniously with others towards that definite goal. You need to figure out what you bring to the group, meet regularly, keep refining the plans. Harmony is crucial. And a key insight is handling setbacks. Don't freak out. Temporary defeat should mean only one thing. The certain knowledge that there is something wrong with your plan just means you need a new plan. Build another one. Start over. And in that famous line, a quitter never wins and a winner never quits.
Such a classic line. So true. He also lists leadership traits here. Things like courage, self-control, fairness, being decisive, doing more than required, having a pleasing personality, important stuff. And for people offering services, he has the QQS formula: quality, quantity, and the right spirit. It's about how you deliver value.
And moving from planning to actually doing it, there's a whole chapter on decision, the mastery of procrastination. This is a big one. He apparently found that lack of decision was near the head of the list of the 30 major causes of failure. He really drills down on this.
Yeah, I think that one hits home for a lot of us. He observed that successful people decide quickly and change their minds slowly, if at all, whereas people who fail tend to decide slowly and then change their minds fast and often, always second-guessing. He uses Ford again, decisively sticking with the Model T even when people criticized him. He trusted his decision.
And interestingly, Hill advises keeping your big plans mostly to yourself, at least initially. Rely on your own judgment. Discussing plans too widely can invite negativity or ridicule from people who just don't get it, potentially derailing you. He points to the Declaration of Independence, a huge, world-changing decision made by a small, committed group acting decisively and courageously. The value of decisions depends upon the courage required to render them.
Makes sense. Protect your vision. Okay, from decision, the natural follow-on is persistence, the sustained effort. This is about sticking with it. It's the sustained effort necessary to transform desire into its monetary equivalent. And it's driven by willpower. Plain and simple. His line here is blunt. Without persistence, you will be defeated even before you start. With persistence, you will win.
And he ties persistence back to desire. Weak desires bring weak results. So the stronger your desire, the easier it is to be persistent. Building persistence involves having that definite purpose, a solid plan, consciously blocking out negativity, using your mastermind group for support, and reinforcing it all with auto-suggestion. He tells the story of Fannie Hurst, the writer. Rejected 36 times before her first story got published. Talk about persistence, just refusing to quit.
Incredible. And you mentioned the mastermind group again. Let's circle back because Hill calls the mastermind, the driving force, absolutely essential. He says, power is crucial for achieving success and defines power as organized and intelligently directed knowledge.
Right. The mastermind, as we said, is that coordination of knowledge and effort in a spirit of harmony between two or more people for the attainment of a definite purpose. Hill had this almost mystical view of it. No two minds ever come together without thereby creating a third, invisible, intangible force which may be likened to a third mind, a synergy. He believed Carnegie, Ford, Gandhi, they all harnessed this collective brain power. He even uses this metaphor of the stream of life. One side flows towards wealth that's fed by positive thoughts. The other side flows towards poverty fueled by negative emotions. The mastermind helps you stay on the positive side.
Okay, another spot for maybe a slight caveat. While the mastermind concept is powerful, collaboration is key. Is it always the best fit for everyone? I mean, some people work better solo. And sometimes group dynamics can get tricky, right? Groupthink, dependency.
That's fair. You can find articles, like in Harvard Business Review, questioning if all collaboration is good collaboration. Sometimes individual strengths get lost in the push for harmony. So maybe it's about finding the right kind of synergy, the right partners, rather than just any group. It's not one size fits all.
Good point. Balance again. Now, Hill introduces a chapter that probably raises some eyebrows, even today, sex transmutation, redirection of creative energy. He's talking about channeling what he calls the most powerful human drives sexual energy into creative work.
Exactly. He identifies sex desire as the most powerful of human desires and argues that when this energy is harnessed or transmuted, people develop keenness of imagination, courage, willpower, persistence, and creative ability. It's not about suppression, it's about redirection, taking that potent life force and aiming it toward your goals, your burning desire. He even suggests that great achievements often happen after age 40, when maybe people have learned better energy management, and he notes the role of love and partnership in balancing this drive. But he does warn against overindulgence. Like any powerful force, uncontrolled, it can be destructive. Control is key.
Interesting perspective. From that internal energy, we move to the mind's filing cabinet, you could say. The subconscious mind, the connecting link.
Yeah.
Hill sees the subconscious as this vast repository. It records everything. And crucially, you can voluntarily influence it to help turn desires into reality.
Yeah, and it responds best to thoughts mixed with strong emotion, especially faith, linked to those dominant desires you keep feeding it. So the idea is to deliberately plant your clear plans and desires into it over and over. He sees it as the bridge to that infinite intelligence we mentioned. It communicates through thought impulses, maybe even intuition or prayer. He lists the 7 major positive emotions you want to cultivate: desire, faith, love, sex enthusiasm, romance, hope. These build money consciousness and contrast them with the 7 major negative emotions to actively avoid: fear, jealousy, hatred, revenge, greed, superstition, anger. And his line is stark. Faith and fear make poor bedfellows. Where one is found, the other cannot exist. Choose one.
very clear choice there. And the physical brain itself. Hill has a fascinating take in The Brain at Broadcasting and Receiving Station. He literally suggests the brain works like a radio. Every human brain is both a broadcasting and receiving station for the vibration of thought.
It's a wild idea. He argues that intense emotions actually raise the brain's vibrational frequency, making it more receptive to ideas, especially from that creative imagination faculty. Creative imagination is the receiver. He talks about intangible forces, gravity, electricity, thought itself, powerful things we don't fully grasp yet. He even reframes the Great Depression not just as a disaster, but as a potential blessing in disguise, a forced new starting point, offering new opportunities if your mind, your receiver, is tuned correctly.
That's quite the reframe of adversity. So this all leads up to the peak of his philosophy. The sixth sense, the door to wisdom. This is the 13th principle, the point where communication from infinite intelligence can become almost automatic, spontaneous insights, where creative imagination becomes your direct line.
Right. And he stresses you can't really grasp this one until you've mastered the other 12 principles. It's the culmination. This sixth sense provides insights, warnings about dangers, flashes about opportunities, like a highly tuned intuition. He shares his own pretty unique practice, holding imaginary council meetings in his mind with historical figures he admired, Emerson, Lincoln, Edison. He tried to absorb their traits, get advice through auto-suggestion. He describes these sessions as incredibly vivid and helpful.
Wow, that's quite a technique. Okay, so after building all this up, there's one major obstacle left to conquer. Fear outwitting the six ghosts. Hill identifies three main enemies of the mind: indecision, doubt, and fear, and sees a progression. Indecision leads to doubt, which crystallizes into fear. But ultimately, he says, fear is nothing more than a state of mind.
Exactly. And he lists the 6 basic fears he believes plague humanity. Number 1, the most destructive, fear of poverty. He says it paralyzes reason, kills ambition. Then fear of criticism, fear of ill health, fear of losing love, fear of old age, and finally, fear of death. Pretty comprehensive list.
It covers a lot. And his antidote to all this fear, back to basics, prompt and firm decision. It cuts off indecision and worry at the source. His ultimate message is control. You are the master of your own earthly destiny because you can control your thoughts. And for that big one, the fear of death. His answer is simple: a burning desire for achievement. Focus on living fully.
So wrapping up this deep dive, Think and Grow Rich delivers this enduring message, doesn't it?
Yeah.
The sheer power of focused thought, that burning desire and disciplined, persistent action. It's all about realizing that wealth, success, achievement, whatever form it takes for you, starts inside, in your mind.
Yeah.
And then it's transformed into reality through effort.
And it's not just about getting rich, is it? Though the title points that way. These strategies, these principles, they feel timeless. For anyone trying to achieve any goal, financial freedom, sure, but also personal growth, mastering a skill, making an impact. The core ideas seem pretty universal.
Definitely. They're tools for defining and achieving your own version of success, whatever that looks like for you.
So here's something to maybe mull over. If thoughts really are things, if they're actively shaping your reality, what kinds of things are you deliberately building in your mind right now? And maybe more importantly, are they actually leading you toward the future you genuinely desire?
Yeah, maybe take a moment after this. Think about which of Hill's principles really click for you. Maybe even try one of the practical steps, those 6 steps for desire or the self-confidence formula. You might just surprise yourself. See what happens when you truly decide to harness that incredible power you have right there in your own mind.